Hey everybody, Skylight Guy here, and I have a new subject today. I talked about it previously in another episode, just on a shorter segment, but it was on the subject of maturity, and I really fleshed out this idea. I wrote down a few more things than usual, so let's just get right into it. The first thing I said was the subject of turning the other cheek. I'm pretty sure this is a biblical saying, and it's basically just saying that if somebody says something bad or strikes you, whatever, makes you mad, you just turn the other way, turn your face away and ignore it. And what I wrote about it is that when you're mature, you don't worry. And instead of worrying, you understand situations. You understand what happened, you understand what could have happened, and you understand that, I guess what happened did happen, and you can't change it. And it's important to turn the other cheek because when someone is rude and you feed into it, it could destroy you. How many times have you thought about comments that somebody has made towards you when you're in bed at night or waking up and having a rough morning, you know? You learn that you can't really control it. You can't control if somebody was rude to you, right? I mean, in most situations. So there's no point in worrying. There's no point in worrying about what other people have to say. There is definitely a few exceptions. If you're the type of guy to not shower for a week and somebody says take a shower, you reek, different, way different scenario. Kind of on that same note, things out of your control. I titled this section The Fine Line Between Ignorance and Maturity. So, yeah, as I said, there's things out of your control, but you need to understand how to handle them. Because if you're immature about an issue, and now we're talking about issues, we're not talking about just people being rude. I'm talking about an issue like maybe a video you saw or an action somebody did, right? If you're immature, you'll just ignore the issue completely. But if you are mature about it, you'll understand that there is an issue and you'll resolve it in your own way. Ignorance is bliss, right? So don't be ignorant because that's honestly a pretty dumb way to be. Because if you're mature, instead of just overlooking an issue and not letting it affect you, you'll look into the issue, you'll understand what it is, and you'll get over it. It's easy to not care when you're mature because why even look into stuff that won't affect you, right? Another thing I put here is it says maturity is a step above ignorance. And, these kind of all just ping pong off each other. Remember the saying, ignorance is bliss. Maturity is accepting what happened and what will happen. Accepting those truths transform you into a better person. Emotional maturity, for example. Let's say like you go through a tough time, right? And you go through it without any vices, right? That will make you a better and stronger person. But if you go through a tough time with vices and you kind of just ignore an issue, you let these problems fester within you and they all kind of boil over at one point or another. I know this is a lot of vague phrasing. Like, for example, right here, I just said an issue. I'm talking about an emotional issue, maybe like a breakup or a separation. There's plenty of things that could affect you personally and emotionally, and that falls under the umbrella of what I just said. Another section, I guess this is a little different from what we were just talking about, but it's being upset with somebody or their opinion, disposition, etc. And all I wrote for this is that it takes a real man to have a distaste for someone and to look past it. Okay, there has been plenty of times where there has been somebody who I thought I didn't like, but I talked to them for a little and they turned out to be a really good friend. However, the opposite is true. I have had a lot of people who I thought were pretty cool friends, but the more I talk to them and the more I'm with them, the more they're kind of just like, I don't know if I want to hang around this person, right? And recently I've developed a bit of a distaste for somebody. Long story short, somebody who has been making me very mad recently, like irrationally mad, and who's been challenging all of my inner peace. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a real man, you got to look past all that and just accept the person for what they are instead of obsessing over what they could be or how they could do things differently, right? I saw a video and I think it was something about like Buddhist habits, and the guy in the video said that they like to pray and give thanks, right? Give thanks to anybody. And they even give thanks to the people they don't like or annoying people because they help teach patience. And wow, have I learned patience. Another subject, I touched on this in my last video. It's entitled Immature Adults. Do you ever see adults who kind of just lose their marbles for no reason? I talked about this, of course, in the other episode. But I mentioned, teachers. Sometimes it's just crazy to see teachers flip their lid, especially because when you think about the background of a teacher, like they went to college for a degree in education. They wanted to do this for a living, and now they're losing their mind, right? Which, depends on the situation. Of course, I don't know the context of every teacher freak out ever, but they should know better how to handle themselves. I'm sure you guys have had an experience with a teacher who seem just a little crazy for no reason. Waking up in the morning and you're just kind of looking at them like, "Come on, brother, it's like 8 o'clock and you're acting like this." Goodness gracious. One final topic on the subject of maturity is talking back. There's no point in talking back. And the worst part is that I hear kids talk back all the time because I'm in band. I don't know why we let that grow and multiply, the idea of talking back, but I used to play football. Never happened. I mean, somebody would turn their back and they'd be like, man, fuck that guy, right? That could happen in band, but also kids are just quick to, dismiss a person in authority. People are just always so quick-witted and just have something to say and always have to be right. You know what I mean? And that stuff just really, really irritates me. Well, I think those are all the topics of maturity that I have. That definitely ran quite its course, but I have some other things I could talk about. This kind of ties into what I said earlier about how being ignorant versus being mature and it's a fine line and stuff like that. I want to talk about finding stuff you enjoy versus watching stuff you don't care about or stuff that doesn't affect you. Personally, I struggled a lot with maybe finding a YouTube video or playing a game on Roblox because I'd be in it for like 5 minutes and I'd just be like, this is stupid. This has no effect on my life. I should stop doing this. Right? This is dumb. And that's definitely fine for some things. I mean, some videos that you don't care about, that don't affect you, those are way different from things that actually interest you. Um, I think we all know Nile Red. I'm a bit of a fan. I'm a bit of a chemistry fan, so I love watching his channel. It's like an hour-long video, the hour-long videos. Sometimes I don't even understand the concepts in his videos, the equipment he uses, the things he's compounding, yada yada yada. But I just love his videos. I love watching them. They're entertaining. And I guess I've just kind of fallen into this trap of trying to make everything efficient or make everything important because, you can't really chill if you're so bothered with making sure that everything is benefiting you at once, right? So, again, find stuff that's important to you and find stuff that's not important to you and make sure that you could figure out the distinction. Another thing I wanted to mention is how, oh my goodness, is how disruptive ads have been recently. Guys, I don't know about you. Um, I watch YouTube a lot on my phone, especially at night when I lay down. I don't know, it's bad. It's really bad. We all remember when it went from one ad to two ads, right? And how everybody was mortified and oh man, it still sucks. Obviously, it still sucks, but we've gotten used to it. And of course, we also all remember, maybe, if you watch YouTube on your phone, when you pause a video on your phone, sometimes some ad would pop up on the side of the screen and like push the video away. You know what I mean? And it is irritating. Just because you want to pause it and look at something, right? And then it just screws you over. And if that wasn't bad enough, now it just happens and you don't even have to pause the video. It's absurd. It's so disruptive. If ads weren't bad enough currently, with how loud they are and the very loud music they have with the heavy bass and the very loud drums and all the very incredibly bright colors, it is, It's like, I don't want to say this because it sounds silly, but they're turning ads into like an Instagram reel, you know? It has to be loud. It has to be very flashy. And yeah, that's the essence of ads. They have to be attention getting. I don't know. I don't work at an ad agency. I don't know the difference between a good ad and a bad ad, I guess, from a professional standpoint. But don't you want your ad to be like memorable, you know, instead of yelling at the screen about something? Yeah, it is. It is just bad. To round off this video, a bit of a funny story, as per usual. I was in 7th grade, right? And it's probably my first day or something. And we walk into civics class. And, you know, teachers have lectures about their class, you know, the importance of it, what you're going to learn, stuff like that. And some people just have you write your name down and your interests. You know, everybody's different. Anyways, I got into civics, and this guy was telling us all about how civics was going to be the most important class, and how if we don't pay attention to it, we're going to be working at McDonald's, right? He said some of us are going to be saying, "Do you want fries with that?" if we don't pay attention to him. And to an extent, that is justified. However, civics is the study of U.S. government. You know what class they make us take in 8th grade after civics? They make us take a U.S. history, which, you know, of course talks about the government. And then you know what class I took in 10th grade? AP U.S. history. And whoop-de-doo, it talks about the government. And you know what class I had to take this year? Because of my last social study credit, I had to take U.S. government. There's a lot of facets and caveats in the U.S. education system that we could pick at all day. But, guys, I had to take like 3 U.S. history classes to graduate. I mean, come on. I get having math 12 years, and I understand having English and science for 12 years. But social studies, like, I took world history twice. Once in 6th grade and once in 9th grade. It was like, you know, 6th grade world history, 9th grade AP world history. But, couldn't tell you anything about it, right? They made us take humanities this year, and that class is really unprofessional. I could go into that another day. I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, conclusion is U.S. schools have way too many U.S. government classes. Guys, just relax. I had to take like 4 years of it, and I seriously, I'm fine with social studies. I cannot stand U.S. history. I really don't like it. Anyways, with that out of the way, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.